Welcome to the Sisterhood of Limitless Living. I'm Dr. April Moreno, autoimmune wellness researcher and professional helping women around the world to live their best possible lives despite the autoimmune condition. Listen in as we speak on various topics about the autoimmune journey and interview amazing and inspiring women who are living and thriving despite their autoimmune condition. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of the Limitless Living podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about the various types of meditation that are out there. So this all kind of is a result of some of my recent adventures into meditation, and I'm here to share my insights with you and how they can be helpful on the autoimmune journey. So recently I wanted to know a little bit more about meditation and what it really means to meditate. Initially, my first opinion of what meditation could be is just kind of like a state of relaxation, maybe a state of calm. And really that's all it was to me, kind of relaxation, maybe some kind of insight. But as I began to go through the meditation journey, I have some new insights and new findings that I have on how this helps women with the autoimmune challenge. And so I want to share with you how I've come up with 3 different types of meditation that I've identified that are out there, and what those are, and how they can be useful and helpful. Now, I'm going to be talking about 3 types of meditation. However, I believe that there are many more types of meditation that I'm not going to be talking about today, and they can be things like prayer and other types of maybe focus on mantras and these types of meditation practices, and among many others. Today, I'm talking about 3 types of meditation. The first one I'm going to be talking about is mindfulness. Mindfulness is a state of awareness and acceptance. And so a lot of it on the western part of the world has been kind of championed, I don't know a better word right now, championed by Jon Kabat-Zinn, who basically talks a lot about, who presents and writes books on the various topics of mindfulness as a concept. And he has based it on several different principles, some of which involve awareness and willingness to learn and just observation. So I'm not going to be able to provide you with all the different steps of the mindfulness process today for the podcast purposes, but he does have several principles that he talks about in mindfulness. And I just wanted to talk about mindfulness in a brief description, being that it is a process of observation. It is a process of noticing what is happening at the current time, and just without judgment, without any sort of feeling attached to it, just really noticing what's going on. And so one of the basic, most common principles or practices of mindfulness would be something like the body scan. So if any of you out there has done any reading or research or looked into mindfulness, most likely you've heard of the body scan. And the body scan is simply a practice of, from head to toe or toe to head, just noticing each part of the body and noticing the feelings. It could be pain, it could be anything that is going on in the body. It could be stress, tense muscles. Just acknowledging these things and just being aware of these things as a first step towards insight, relaxation, knowledge, and other things that lead you on this journey to awareness. And how does this benefit people with autoimmune conditions? Oh, I have so much to say about that. But mindfulness is a really important part of the autoimmune journey, in my opinion. I think it's really crucial that when we're going through strange body symptoms and strange feelings of low energy or other sorts of symptoms, just to be aware of these things as a first step so that we can actually find ways to make things better. And also another step of that mindfulness journey would be insight into patterns. And some people talk about root causes and different things that need to be acknowledged and changed if we so desire. So mindfulness is an important part of that process. And so for those reasons, mindfulness is a key practice in the work that I do in autoimmune wellness consulting. So again, mindfulness is a simple practice of awareness, acknowledgement, without judgment, and just being able to notice what is going on with the body. Okay, another aspect, another type of meditation I wanted to talk about today is visualization, and it's also partly connected to guided imagery. Visualization and guided imagery are a great way to practice mindfulness. I'm sorry. Visualization and guided imagery are a great way to practice meditation. This is because visualization is something that's really useful in relaxation and calming the mind, and even pain reduction, reducing depression, anxiety, and so many other things. Visualization is a practice where you can actually begin to visualize and imagine your ideal situation. You can imagine, for example, where you want to be in 10 years or 50 years. You can imagine the ideal life that you choose for yourself, and you can begin to work toward. So visualization is a great practice when you are feeling stressed out, when you're feeling upset, and you need to find a way to focus on something else. So it is similar to mindfulness in that it is a practice of focusing on things and choosing what you are practicing to focus on. And guided imagery is also a great part of that. I took part in a recent Healing Light guided imagery program. And that was wonderful, and I highly recommend it for anyone who's going through the autoimmune journey or any sort of pain-related journey, because in Healing Light guided imagery, you're able to begin to focus on the power of the light, and you're able to focus on healing parts of your body. And there have been some very amazing testimonials and very amazing examples from people I've personally met, even, who benefit from guided imagery. So a little bit more about guided imagery is just that it is a great way to continue with the visualization process, in some ways guided with someone else, a practitioner, hypnotherapist, who helps you through that journey of a goal, in most cases, toward maybe pain reduction and anxiety reduction, or even enhanced creativity, among other things as well. So guided imagery, I connect definitely to visualization as a practice in the 3 types of meditation I'm talking about today. So it involves a chosen focus. It involves a deliberate choice to focus on something toward a specific goal. The next type of meditation I wanted to talk about today is transcendental meditation. This is a practice I recently participated in and began to learn about. So about 3 weeks ago, I would say, not too long ago, I took part in the Transcendental Meditation course. I will tell you briefly that Transcendental Meditation is a practice of focusing on nothing. So it's very different from guided imagery or visualization practices, and it's also very different from the mindfulness practice, because it's similar to mindfulness in that you're noticing these different thoughts, but in mindfulness, we tend to focus on these thoughts. We take note of them. We keep track of these things because it leads us toward a next step. In transcendental meditation, the goal is to really focus on nothing and to focus almost on everything at the same time. So basically, the goal of transcendental meditation is to transcend your thoughts and your sense of being into connection with the universal field, as Deepak Chopra talks about, this field of all possibilities. It's the unity consciousness that you're looking at to transcend to in transcendental meditation. It's a really interesting process, and it involves very clear and precise training. So you do need to go to a specially trained individual who will guide you through the transcendental meditation practice. And so, you are given a mantra that you keep for the rest of your life. You just continue to use that. And instead of focusing on thoughts, you're letting the thoughts flow. You're letting the thoughts go through, but you're not attaching to these thoughts. You're not even really accepting the thoughts. You're just letting them go. So the focus is on the sense of really focus on nothing. And it's very relaxing because how many times throughout the day are we continuing to think thoughts? There's some estimate out there that women think about 50,000 thoughts per day. That sounds pretty exhausting. But with the practice of transcendental meditation, you're meditating 40 minutes a day, and your focus is really just to clear the mind and focus on the one mantra and really just to calm the mind. And so it's a really great practice, and it's very different from the other two types of meditation that I talked about because of the fact that really the goal is in transcendental to really not be thinking about anything and just kind of being connected to universal unity consciousness. And it's very relaxing, and there have been numerous scientific studies on the practices of transcendental meditation. Likewise, there have been other types of studies out there on the effectiveness of other types of meditation, including mindfulness and including guided imagery as well. So today, those are the 3 types of meditation I wanted to talk about today. And I recommend all 3 of them. I don't have a favorite, but in terms of autoimmune wellness and with my public health background, I do choose to use the mindfulness practice of meditation in the work that I do with people because it leads us to this level of awareness and what we can do about something to make change. So it's definitely more of an interactive and a more voluntary and a more focused approach to meditation, where we're actually doing something with these thoughts and doing something with to make changes to anything that we need to make changes to. Guided imagery is also associated with that as well. So those practices of mindfulness, coupled with, in many ways, with visualization, are an important part of the work that I choose to do in my autoimmune wellness consulting. But also, I highly recommend transcendental meditation, and that is through very specifically trained individuals who would guide you through that practice. The beauty in mindfulness is that anyone can do it. It doesn't require a specific type of training. It doesn't require hundreds or thousands of dollars to do. Mindfulness is a simple practice that even my dog can do, and he notices things that I don't notice in nature. Just that awareness and that stillness and that insight and being able to take note of what's going on and accept it. So mindfulness is a practice that I call the people's meditation. Anyone can be involved in mindfulness meditation. So that's, I guess in some ways, that's a favorite of mine, but I love all 3 of them. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. And then lastly, how do these 3 practices connect to the autoimmune journey? Again, mindfulness is that practice where you can identify your key goals. You can identify, firstly, what's going on in the body. So if we've been really stressed out with work, or we're going through a traumatic event, we're going through something where we don't even have the time to really sit with ourselves. Mindfulness is a great practice for us to begin to notice what's going on. If we've been experiencing stomach pains or headaches and things, and we just don't even take the time to make changes to that. Mindfulness is an important part of that. If you are feeling anxiety or depression and you're really trying to just ride it out and go through and run to the next step of whatever it is that you're doing and being busy, mindfulness is an important step. They say that the busier you are, the more you need meditation, the more you would need mindfulness in this case. So then visualization and guided imagery are very beneficial, again, for people who are living with autoimmune conditions. For example, if you're experiencing pain, numbness, fatigue, brain fog, and many other things, and anxiety even, visualization is a wonderful way for you to find a safe place so that you can begin to calm the mind. And then visualization guided imagery is also a great way for you to begin to visualize healing, to visualize relief from pain and other conditions. And again, transcendental meditation and how it connects with the autoimmune journey is a process of just calming the mind and finding a really important place to get into a very deep state of relaxation. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but transcendental meditation, after the brief meditation practice that you do, you will experience levels of rest that are deeper than a full night of sleep. Okay, so those are the three types of meditation I wanted to talk about today, and I've talked about their benefits in terms of the autoimmune journey. And yeah, if you've experienced any of these three types of meditation in your daily practice, I'd love to hear more about how meditation has helped you along your journey. All right, take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Limitless Living Podcast. If you found this information beneficial, please feel free to share the podcast with anyone else that you know. Please also feel free to follow us on iTunes or reach us on Spotify. For more information about Dr. April Moreno, you can access the website at aprilmorenophd.com and learn more about mindful wellness for autoimmune healing.